All is quiet in Gaza right now. For the first time in 7 weeks, there's a chance for a long-lasting truce. Israeli and Palestinian leaders agreed to a ceasefire with no time limit. The goal, of course, is to give Israel and Hamas the time needed to achieve a peace deal. Hamas is calling this latest truce a victory, but as CCTV's Roee Ruttenberg explains, reaction is split in Israel.
The Israeli cabinet appeared to be split on Tuesday night following the announcement of that ceasefire, notably from the economics minister and also the foreign minister, Avigdor Lieberman, and the interior minister, Aharomovich. They say that the operation should have continued until Hamas was dealt a more serious blow, and they're calling for a vote in the cabinet. Netanyahu is also taking hits from other politicians in the country, notably from the political left, from Meretz, Zahava Gal'on, saying that Netanyahu gave Hamas a victory at the end of a pointless military campaign. Those were her words. And also local leaders from the southern communities disappointed that the military operation didn't continue, saying that Netanyahu wouldn't have made this decision if he was living in the south, exposed to a constant barrage of rockets. That one local leader, and particularly from the Eshkol region, saying he will hold off on asking his residents to return from areas that they've vacated until he sees that indeed this ceasefire holds. Now, we should also remember that Netanyahu has seen his approval ratings for this operation plummet in recent days. In middle July, he enjoyed 82% approval. In a recent poll this week, that number dropped down to 38%. So it appears that he was responding to some of the pressure that he's facing within the Israeli public. Meanwhile, in Gaza on Tuesday night, we saw the streets filled with thousands of people celebrating this ceasefire. One of the reasons is because of the various factions involved, not just Hamas, not just Islamic Jihad, but also, of course, the Fatah party of the Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas. He, of course, was in Cairo earlier this week attending these ceasefire negotiations with the Egyptians, and made that announcement on Tuesday night. Whether or not this ceasefire will hold will depend on if all of the parties can meet their short-term objectives and continue talks based on long-term objectives. It appears the sides have agreed on some short-term objectives, including the halting of firing from the ground, rockets from Gaza into Israel, and of course from the sky, Israeli airstrikes on Gaza. They've also agreed to meet some of the demands that Hamas has been putting forward, including extending the sea access that Gazan fishermen have from 3 nautical miles to 6 nautical miles. But there are other issues that need to be addressed, including the release of prisoners and the return of bodies of Israeli soldiers killed in Gaza. Many people here closely watching if all of the sides will adhere to the commitment. But on Tuesday night, at least in Gaza and in parts of Israel, there was hope that this conflict, which has completed 7 weeks, might be ending very shortly. Roee Ruttenberg, CCTV in Tel Aviv.